start recording here and we'll get cracking. We'll just give it another minute and we can start. We have a ton to go through today. Look at all these charts. So I'll try to cruise through most of them, but if there's anything that you guys want to spend a bit more time on, obviously just feel free to stop me and ask any questions. How is everyone? How is everyone doing today? Wednesday evening here in Australia. I'm assuming Wednesday morning, potentially, for some of you guys overseas. Yeah, cool. That is awesome. Yeah, I reckon we start, hey? Let's get cracking. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Evening for us here in Australia and morning for some of you just waking up in the US or on the other side of the world. So thank you for joining me here today or tonight. And yeah, as always, I appreciate your time. Be it live with me today, you get to ask a lot of questions in the chat and we get to chat, or be it that you're just watching the recording, which is also fine. Just make sure to drop a comment down below. Without any further ado, we have a ton to go through today. Look at all these charts. So I say we're going to get started and right in there. Let's get into it. Let's get dirty. Where do we always start? In the chart. Where do we always start? What's the ticker? What's the ticker that we always start with any analysis that we do? I've got it here, so it's a little bit easy. You can read it out. But come on, starts with a D. Let me know that you're awake. Let me know that you got your coffee on. What do we always start? We start with the dollar, right? We start with the DXY, that dominance. That's right, with the dominance and the dollar. So the dominance of the dollar in this case, nothing overly exciting. We can see on the daily we are just literally ranging. So there's an imaginary channel here. If you draw a box, we're just going low to high to low to high. We're kind of bouncing in this range. We did grab downside liquidity here with this nice spike through last week, a few weeks ago. We're on the weekly here. So next we can obviously expect upside liquidity to be the next target. This is a weekly chart, right? So we have to be a little bit wary that these things may pay out a little bit of time. So it will take a bit of time for it to play. But you can see we are starting to have some nice movements already. Big wick down, grab inside liquidity down there. So this was the inner liquidity, which we talked about last week. I have that there done. And we can see here, we can likely going up now because we have on Tuesday last week or the other week, was that? Yeah, a few weeks ago. We already had grabbed downside liquidity. So dollar is likely going to go up. Okay. Dominance. What are we doing with the Bitcoin dominance? Dominance has done a similar move to the dollar. You can see here we have grabbed this liquidity down here, and we also had grabbed upside liquidity. So dominance is in a slightly different position now. I'm expecting a little bit of a range here, and if everything pans out nicely, we are going to start doing some lower lows and some lower highs. So the projection for the dollar, for the Bitcoin dominance is bearish because we are, of course, in a macro bearish environment. Yeah. So we are definitely on a bearish environment. So now it's just a matter of where that lower low, given that this was the previous, is going to go. Hopefully it's going to be in the 55s, which will give our beloved olds a little bit of a relief rally. Someone last week asked for the total tree. Can't remember who he was. I think it was Copy maybe. And we discussed this candle right here. So this was the candle that I've got highlighted from last week. Oopsie, there. This was the candle that we had highlighted from last week right here. And you can see we came right into it. Bang. And we started moving already. is not going to be a bounce to all-time high or anything like that. Don't expect that. I see this very much just as a relief rally. So coming somewhere into from the low here to the high here, somewhere into the 50%. Maybe fill some of these imbalances down here and then potentially roll over a little bit more, because this candle, in my opinion, is going to get mitigated a lot more. We barely touched the wick here. We haven't even got into the body of this weekly candle down here. So I'm expecting total tree, which is obviously it's everything in crypto excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Total tree. I'm expecting some sort of movement like this, come up here, mitigate, and then move lower into the 76.86 area. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the macro, nothing new. We are obviously in a bearish momentum now. We've closed below. We have formed, even though we haven't formed it yet, because who knows where we stop. Do we stop here? Do we start bouncing and we form a lower low here, lower low here? So one thing we know for sure is that we have effectively broken below the previous structural weekly low. So this was the moment past the 75-ish, whatever it was, 78. That moment we're gonna be bearish again. Okay, so we could see slow down here, a little bounce up, maybe coming back into this weekly candle up into the 90s, and then a continuation lower. Really scare people off before eventually we break up higher. Or we could just literally capitulate down here now and go straight into this candle, which is the final boss. Talked about it a number of times now. So that 56, 50, whatever that was, 54 is the final boss on the weekly. Going past that, yeah, we'll likely see us into the between 30s and 40s, which nobody wants to see, or maybe some people do. I know that I want to. Well, I would love to see a $30,000 Bitcoin. I'll go and sell everything I've got and buy as much Bitcoin as I can. So Bitcoin, nothing there. However, on the weekly, that is. However, I am not against this long here, which I just played out. What was that, earlier last night? I didn't call it out because it is pretty ugly, but there is a harmonic forming here. Okay, so this type of harmonic based on the 4-hour, they're not super clean. You can see the actual structural or anchor point was up here. So you could technically start it from here. They're not clean. They're not my favorite. So I didn't call it out for that reason, because they're not super clean. I don't want you guys to get into the habit of do not necessarily by the book things, but I am flagging that this is a potential play here for Bitcoin. I am into this long as it is, and I enter because of a daily candle, which I'll bring here in a second. There it is. So what we had here, we obviously had that big sell-off candle and a tent on the next bullish candle up here to engulf the previous bearish. It was a fail attempt. You can see we never actually closed above, and now price is really trying to go past this high. But there's two chances. There's two scenarios here. We either come up and we close above this candle and we start forming intraday higher lows, or we simply fail somewhere here and we roll down. So this is a two possibilities here for Bitcoin. So for those of you who are scalping, it's important to always understand where you are on the daily. Okay, but on the 4-hour, you can see we had a lower low, because this low is lower than this low. And now we have printed a higher low. So there's a list and a tent here for the bulls to take control again. But you can see that the downside pressure, just purely by how slow the movement is, there is a lot of selling pressure here. Okay, so if you do decide to potentially go long in any setup that you may see in GPG, or even that just you're looking at, just be mindful that it is risky, because at the moment there is still a lot of pressure, of course, and we haven't really broken any structure on the 4-hour. So if we actually just delete everything, you can see what we have here. We had a lower low, we had a lower high, and then we had a higher low, and then we had a lower high. So we're kind of ranging here into this invisible box once again, which is basically creating liquidity up above here, creating liquidity down below here. So you are in the middle of the range. We don't necessarily love trading in the middle of the range, but if you know your risk and you have your trading rules dialed out, which I know not everyone does, there is a possibility for a Bitcoin long re-entry, which I think a possible re-entry will be off of this 1 hour candle right here. So this 1 hour candle will be my re-entry. There's an imbalance right there. This is the last push down before up. So if you do want to play a long, this 67,300 level will be a nice retest. If you want to have an entry too, I would definitely put it on this candle right here. So I'll highlight them for you so you can see them on the chart. So this is 67.1 to 67.2. So that is our 1 hour candle of interest. And the second 1 hour candle of interest is this one down here, which is 66.142 to 66.317. So those candles right there will be my entry one and an entry two. And obviously you can see stop loss below. If this idea goes the right, we can probably leave this. This is done now. Full TP, happy days. I was going to say the take profit here, you'd have to take some profit on your way up because ultimately we are in a bearish environment. So don't think that this is going to be a swing that's going to take us all the way back to 100K. You won't. I'm fairly sure. You never say never in crypto or in trading, but I'll probably do this kind of 2 TPs up here. And if you want to be on the safer side, you can even do another one out here. So that's 3 TPs, TP1, TP2, TP3. Cool. So Bitcoin, there might be a retracement for a potential idea. Ethereum, I think we called it out. Can't remember. Just remember, chat. Did we call this one out? It was on a 4 hour. We were looking at. We looked at these 2 candles last week. I remember that. And we came back into the level. So I did take this idea. I know that we definitely talked about it. So this is the idea that I took. A lot more tight in terms of stop loss than BTC, just because we had such a big retracement down already. So I think ETH here has room for a little run. Okay, once again, I'm not targeting 3,000 up here. I'm just literally just going to target this move, which gives me a clean 1 to almost 4, 1 to 4. So a couple of longs here. They're not swing. Sorry, they're not scalps because they are going to take a couple of days, but definitely not the swings that I usually take on crypto because I'm a swing trader in crypto. So XRP has a really interesting level here. Ugly structure, absolutely ugly. You look on the daily. I mean, this thing just capitulated on the way down, stopped, then took out liquidity, and now is back into this box right here. So if we just looked at Ethereum and Bitcoin for potential longs, I don't mind hedging this bet with a short here on XRP because this looks absolutely ugly as sin. And something like this, the 2.5, and you can possibly go even a little bit lower. This is on a 4 hour. We're basically playing off this candle right here, this 4 hour candle right here. We can take a look at 1 hour. 1 hour is even cleaner there. That's a nicer entry right there. Actually, let me just highlight it for us. So if you want to hedge your bets, which I don't not recommend, I mean, I do recommend, that's what I'm trying to say. This is a nice 1 hour short right there. So there. With XRP, you have to give a bit more room to breathe because it wicks like a mofo. So just give it a little bit more room, and you can see this idea from basically from the 4 hour candle, which we're going to play off, and the 1 hour candle from the high to the low of that wick gives us a nice 1 to 3.2, almost 3.3. So yeah, I'm not against this for XRP. You can see when you have, I know that I talked about it many times, but it's always good to have a little refresher when you see these wicks with such a small body. Usually it's a liquidity grabbing event, meaning you can now expect the reverse side of liquidity to be the target. Okay, so XRP short, BTC and ETH are potentially long. GM took us, sorry, I just saw your message in the chat. Let's take a look at Sol. Sol, this was an old idea. This I take some profit. I took profit here. I exited when I saw that we potentially were going to go lower. If you are still in it, definitely, again, I said it last week, but definitely at least cover your entry, okay? So with Sol, I'm not going to touch it for now because I'm out. I've taken my profit there, and I've got 2 other plays or 3 other plays potentially, 2 active, 1 waiting. This was an idea from Nigma, which I took, and shout out to Nigma. So this was a hype short. I'm still in it. I do like the fact that it's really quite struggling here, but most importantly, is creating liquidity. So we are obviously at the bottom of this consolidation range. So really what we want to see here from hype, if you are in it, I would recommend doing this. Nice big line, right? That it is your structure. Set yourself an alarm. I usually go crossing down. And if I cross down, I say close below equal close position, meaning that if we close below this previous low, close above, if we, sorry, I'll confuse myself. That was the wrong alarm. So that, what I meant is, it's meant to say close above. Not confusing myself here. Sorry, fam. If we do, it's a short. So if we do close above here, you got to close this short, because obviously this is the structure now that we're playing off of. Let's highlight it with invisible box right here. So if we close below, that's great. If we close above, not good. Okay, so it's basically close above. So I confused myself there. Equal close position. Okay. So yeah, hype still going there. It's nice. I'm actually going to use this as my TP. So usually you can see I've got a take profit 1, get 25% of my position out. So once we cross below, I know that that will be my TP. Tao, this was an idea we discussed, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. We said when we were back here. So actually, no, that was back in November. So a while back. It was a double position split. So 0.5%, 0.5%. This one got stopped out. We can now delete it. And now we are left with this one right here, which is our second position in profit. We did reach a 1-to-1 already. So hopefully you took some money out of the market. This is a very long swing, okay? So 7.5R. Could take months. So this is more so an idea for a portfolio as well as leverage, of course. But if you do take leverage, make sure you do your due diligence and you take a profit at 1R, 2R, 3R, and so forth. Okay, so it's just nice to go back and see our active ideas, which, you know, for swing, sometimes you kind of forget about them until you look at. But yeah, this one is in profit and going well. Speaking of some ideas that we can look at for portfolio, I really like Uni here, $3.50. You can see it has already obviously grabbed major liquidity down here. So big wick, major liquidity grab. We have retested it, and I think this thing is ready to retest some of this high potentially at $10. If we're sitting at $3.50, all we have to do is go back to this big push up before the low, and a $10 uni will set us up for currently, what is it, 3%, so 3x, a nice 3x. Not bad in this current market. All right, so always look for opportunities in current markets, even though we're bearish, of course. A nice, you can see all it takes is literally 4 days, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then boom, you are golden. So uni I like here for portfolio, not for leverage. I don't like playing leverage at these levels yet. There's not a lot of structure there. You can see ugly wicks on the upside. 4 hour, there's not too much happening there. I really don't like this. This happened the other day when I can't remember what the news was. There was a big news. Somebody bought, or maybe I can't remember. There was a big news on uni. Speaking of active idea as well, for portfolio, we obviously have Casper. This is a portfolio idea, so 3 cents and DCA down all the way to 1 cent. We have already grabbed that liquidity that was back here from 2023 at 1 cent, and now we're sitting at 3. Once again, if you do decide that this is your TP1, this is pretty nice at 6 cents. It's a nice 2x from current prices. Okay, so spot obviously it's a very different scenario than our leverage, because we are waiting a little bit longer and let the market do its thing. Let the market. So we'll consolidate here. You can see we'll probably consolidate here across the board, I think, for a little while. ZEC was an idea that we called back in early Feb. We hit TP 3 days ago, so this is a full TP now. If you took it, congrats. We have waited for this. We talked about this level back in November 2025, so a few months ago. First level got hit, obviously, and second level also got tapped to the T, and now we have, we have hit full TP. So congrats. Pays to pay attention, but also it pays to have what? Patience. Pays to have patience. Yeah. So we let the market. This is a great example, this chart. Great example of you don't FOMO in just because something is absolutely going bonkers. People were buying here 500, 600, influencer callers like Mert saying, oh, it's gonna go to 1,000. You just don't listen to those people. Okay, look at the charts, and when you see something like this, you know that there's gonna be a what? There's gonna be a correction. So you set up your levels and you wait. See, I had it here, and you do what? You wait. You wait for the market to come to you. You wait for the market for the first level, and that gave you already, you know, this was the from the bottom of where we called this at 300, you went up to 560, so that's almost a 2x. And now if you enter here where we took the trade at 209, you're already up nicely. Okay, 300. So obviously now I'm gonna wait. Personally, I'm not gonna re-enter or replay this trade. There might be more downside, but this is nice, and this was a nice leverage idea that we hit full TP on. All right, let's change gear for a second. We have talked crypto. That's all I have for crypto at the moment, and I'm gonna get you guys and girls a few little stock plays. I'm gonna cruise through some of them because in some of them we already have been talking about it for quite a number of weeks. So Duolingo, I am still buying here. I bought again. There is a fair value gap sitting here. It's this gray box down here on a daily. So that is my larger position that I'm going to be taking at 94 to 100. So we're sitting at 112, relatively close, right? But I want to see this kind of move, slow down, fill the fair value gap. And if you want to see where the fair value gap is, I will take the daily chart and show you. This is the gap that I want to see fill on Duolingo. Okay, so once we hit that level soon, in my opinion, I will deploy more capital, and then yeah, just be happy and sit on it. But it is a nice risk to reward area. So low to high on a weekly, we are sitting below the AS6. So definitely an area that I like here. Coffee. All right, coffee. We talked about it. I said that I'm interested again here. This was last week, and I said there's two scenarios. We either bounce up or we go lower. And if we look on the daily, what have we actually done on a chart perspective? We can delete this now, and we can delete this now. We have created what? What have we created in the chart? What have we created? 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see them? What have we created? Anybody? Knock, knock. Liquidity. We've created liquidity. Okay, we have created equal lows, and when there's equal lows and there's liquidity, what are we gonna do? We're gonna wait for that liquidity to be grabbed. Okay, so I'm not buying just yet, but I am happy to enter a small position as soon as we touch that liquidity. And if I go on the monthly, because we are looking at obviously higher time frame here, what do we have down here? We have this big candle, yeah, monthly candle at 270 to 250. That's my area of interest there for coffee. So coffee is back on the radar for me. And also PayPal. PayPal obviously had a major drop down here. Big fill to gap, sorry, big gap to fill. But I need to see price slow down. I need to see this kind of movement before I press buy on paper, because we could technically go back into this yearly candle. And I want you to pay attention at the fact that we are looking at very high time frame here on stock, because that's what it takes. You know, nobody looks at weekly, yearly, or weekly. A few people do, but 2 weeks, monthly, 6 months, 12 months. They're all in very important levels, team. This yearly candle down here at 30. What is that? 38 to 36. In my opinion, we'll get tapped again. So if I can wait a little bit lower for PayPal, I'm okay with that. I will wait a little bit lower. So let me show me a bit of price action slow down, and I think we'll maybe get there on the next earnings in March. Lululemon instead is back into a buy. So we talked about Lulu in September, and it's funny how things go, because these little blue squiggles, that was before the price action actually developed. I said, I want to see Lululemon do what we just talked about with paper. I want to see Lululemon slow down and then form higher highs. And what did it do? It slowed down and it formed high highs, which is why we enter back here. And we are now back into an entry level at 177. I'm okay entering here on Lulu. This is a good level for me to call it out. We're sitting at a 786. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can see from the low to the high, the latest low to the latest high. We have tapped the 886. So I think we'll see a nice reaction here from Lulu, probably something like this. I can move this now here, because I think that's what's going to happen from right now there, from today. That's how I move them, so I know when we call them out. From today, I think we'll see a nice reaction on Lulu. Okay, Coinbase, I'm still not entering. I really want to see this liquidity down here tap. I want to see 114. I know it's ambitious. I'm in a hurry, because waiting is what pays. If you know how to wait, you get paid. There's a big gap here, a big fair value gap or imbalance on Coinbase at $133 to $137. I want to see that fill. I want to see this liquidity that, yes, got grabbed, but I want to see this liquidity get tapped. So basically anything below 136, it's good game for me. So we're sitting at 167 today in pre-market. We're not quite there yet, but I do think we'll see this fair value gap tapped. So a little bit more patient there. Talking about patience, Sandisk. I think this is a relatively new stock on our watch list. A couple of days, so a couple of weeks that I maybe 1 or 2 weeks that I talked about it. I think this is the top for a little while anyway. This gives me really big ZEC or Zcash vibes. So we will see some sort of retracement. And you can already see I've got a key level marked up here, 283, which is obviously the previous level of push down, stop, and then before we actually exploded. Bears tried to retest this level down here. You can see this little candle in between. So this is a rally base rally. I want to see price coming back close to that 283 before I press buy. If you have any and you bought somewhere down here, I would personally strongly recommend taking some serious profits here on Sandisk. This thing, don't do what Mert and other influencers was screaming about Zcash. It's gonna get to 1,000. No. Take your profit here, fam. I don't know where your entry was. Hopefully it was somewhere down here. And even if it's like up here, you're still up almost a 2x. 2x is, you're basically from here, you're at 2x, which is nice. From this level, you're at 2x. Yeah, so take some profit and just wait. Speaking of chips, this is ARM. ARM64. Who took it? I would love to know if someone listened to these calls. And if you did take it, You're up nicely. Well done. Because we talked about here, we talked about it. We talked about Sandisk, and you're up now 30%, okay, on ARM64. This was such an obvious play. I think I broke it down a number of times now. It was low to high, 76 area, equal lows, fill gap, boom, tapped, and off it goes. I think we'll come back probably into the 140, potentially even 170s. So TP is a little bit higher, I'll say here and here, if you're in with me, and if not, don't FOMO in, just wait for another opportunity here on ARM. Intel, no point in even looking at it. Our entries were 20, you're now at 46. I only got it here because, once again, take your profit. We enter at 20, we are at 46. Okay, so you're up 2.5x. You should take some profit, at least the risk, and take your capital out, your initial capital. RIVN, another one. Okay, this was a beauty. Okay, once again, who's in? We called it on 10th of February. So what's that? Last week. We called it last week. Entry. It's on my channel. I think I said I'm buying here at RIVN at 14. We blasted literally like 3 days later. What is that? 3 days later, we blasted up 30%. Big gap up, and as you can see now, we have all this gap. Oops, all this fair value gap to fill. So we'll likely see a retracement, and this is going to be another great opportunity here. If you miss the first entry, be patient, wait for a pullback, and re-enter again. Maybe you'll not get the $14.36. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll go back into the 886. But definitely, I think you'll get a second opportunity here if you miss RIVN. And my take profit still remains a nice big long swing. This is the massive swing that I'm aiming, so $40. But guess what? I'm going to be taking profit here. I'm going to be taking profit in my fib extension, and then I'm going to be taking my final profits up there. But RIVN, good opportunity there. If you took it 30% up, hopefully you took some out. If not, just be patient and enter again. Paramount Sky was a stock which we talked about a few months ago. It was during the rumor with the acquisition of Warner Brothers. Obviously, you can see it went up considerably, over just over 2x, and now has retraced the whole move. And I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer here at $10.83. You can see from my little blue squiggle, I think we go a little bit lower. I think we go maybe into the 9s, because if you look back, which we should always do, we have what? We have low, we have another low, we have equal lows, and we'll likely come back into this $9.57. But doesn't hurt, initiate a position here at 10, and then have another one, 9.50, and then a little bit more at $9. So this is an active trade for me. Paramount Sky, I'm buying again. If you miss the whole 2x move, happy days. Once again, patient pays. I do think we'll go up considerably here. My target will be, as you can see, into the $74. You buy a 10 or a 9, you exit at 74. That's a nice 7.5x. Not too shabby, okay? But definitely I want to see all of this fair value gap, all of these imbalances on the weekly filled up. So Paramount Sky is active here on stock, so put it on your radar. And another one that we talked about last year, I think, about this one. This is one of the very successful calls that we took, and we're now back at entry. Okay, we're now back at entry. I want to see this weekly candle back here, which is our COVID candle, March 2020. We tapped into it here. I want to see it filled it a little bit more. Give me this kind of movement, get a little bit deeper into that candle, and I'll be buying Etsy once again. I'll be buying Etsy here between the between this level. So below this, what is it? Let me draw a line so we'll do it properly. Below the $40, below $40. We're 44 now, so 10% over. Give me a little bit lower, and I'll set up my alarm, and I'm gonna be buying. Okay, so That is my buying area right there. This is an active play that we had from August. Okay, so once again, you can see now the pattern when stocks. All we have to do is what? Wait. Let the market do its thing. We enter at 82. We're now at 100. We had a little bit lower to go. We, down here, but this is why we initiate. This is a good example of why we initiate a position here, and then we just go a little bit lower if you want. But we also talk about the possibility of going to the monthly. Guess what? It never did. So that's why we initiate a position just in case we don't go lower. But at least we have some exposure, right? It's good to have some exposure at a slightly higher level, and then obviously as the position moves into your most favorable entry, you deploy either more capital or just simply more. And you can see now this position is now going to go likely coming back into this area up here, which is our take profit at 123. So we enter at $80. We're up 25% as of today. So I would recommend taking some profit here at 110 with this equal highs. But ultimately, the take profit for me is potentially high and even all-time high. Okay, so scale out, not scaling 100% out. I'm not taking full profit here, but I'm taking a little bit. I'm going to be taking, a little bit off, just a little bit as I go higher and higher and higher. Another play that is currently active and in profit, this is Moderna. We called it back in November as well. And we literally sniped the bottom thing. Like this is, it doesn't get better than that. Not anywhere. We waited for this liquidity to be grabbed. We marked it up. We literally snapped the bottom on 24th of November. And we're now sitting nice and pretty in profit at, we were at 129%. So one was a 2.4x, 2.3x. Now there's a bit of a retracement, of course, and looks like we are going to go on to the next move up. So you can see we obviously went, oops, that's the wrong one. We were up, up, and up. Okay, so if you took this trade, you should be very happy because our take profit, as you can see, is a lot higher. So enter at 25. My TP is somewhere in the hundreds. We are targeting anywhere between a 5 to 7x on this stock in the months to come. So nice little rounding out the troops there on our stock calls. A couple of entries now and a couple to wait. Let's do a very quick Forex. We talked about last week about USDJPY or UJ. This is a long. I mean, currently, personally, I do see this this harmonic forming out. This is a butterfly, if you know what harmonics are, because we retraced past the 76. And when you do a butterfly, usually you have to do an extension of a 1272 to 414, excuse me. So my take profit will be somewhere up here in the 168s with an entry of 155. Very, very tight stop loss there. This is an entry that you can actually literally just do today and you still have it great right now. And it's still great risk to reward there. A very tight stop loss there just in case we do see a flush, which anything with JPY or yen in it can do. It's a bit like XRP. You can see on a daily we have this big fair value gap down here, which I don't necessarily love. So if we do decide to wick out, at least I've got a very tight stop. And then guess what? I've got another order sitting pretty here on this daily candle right here. You can see this golden box. Okay, so this is an active trade. If you want to play some Forex with me, I'm trying to get you guys to be a bit more diversified in your assets and in your trades. Okay, so not just crypto. We have many other ways to make money and to take money from the market. NU or NU or New Zealand USD. This was a play that we literally called live. I think it was on last week. We broke it down. This was the breakdown. This scribbles from last week where we can see we had a high, we started going lower, and then boom. All we had to do was literally just wait from the high to the low 76 area, and boom, we are off to the races. So this is a nice trade that we took last week. If you took it, congrats. Make sure to take some profit as usual at your 1 to 2R. But yes, just a little touch base on this live trade called on February 10th. Cool. This is the trade that we haven't talked about yet, but I do want to put on your radar, which is the USD CAD. For USD CAD, I am seeing some pretty ugly price action here. You can see this is not nice. Okay, so this is a nice right shoulder, left shoulder kind of thing that I marked up just before. This is forming a massive head and shoulder, in my opinion, on the daily and on the weekly. And the target here is going to be this liquidity down here. All this liquidity is the target. So I would love to see USD CAD, so American dollar versus Canadian dollar, finishing this attempt at this harmonic, which is low A, B. So this is a nice bat. So somewhere here. And then once that is finished, basically past this fresh level of liquidity, we can definitely wait for a short. And I love to short this. I love to short the heck out of it. Probably somewhere around in this 2-4 hour order block here. It's a nice level. Let's see, this 4-hour candle is also a nice level there, a little bit lower. Let's see what we have on the 1 hour. No, nothing on the one. There is this candle, it doesn't have any wick. Don't necessarily love this type of candles, which are all body, no wick, but I'll mark it up for just in case. Let's see what's on the 30 minutes. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. There's a lot of spiky action. And on the 15 minutes, I do have a nice candle right here. This is a nice 15 minutes candle. It did get tapped into it, so technically you can consider that mitigated. But you also have another 15 minutes candle right here, up here. So those two 15 minutes candles sit all inside that 4-hour order block. You can see this larger box, so I'm happy to just take that 4-hour order block and trade off of that. Wasn't this one, the previous one. This is the previous trade, full TP, happy days. And this is where I would personally look at a little bit more, actually, because just in case you do come into this 4-hour candle right here, there. So this is where I would, excuse me, that's the wrong drag there. This will be a nice long swing for USD CAD, basically just going back into this right here. You can see, and you just took yeah, which is what we just looked at, just took a nice take profit level. So yes, USD CAD, this is a trade that I'll be waiting for. A nice 3.5 hour. You can do a split entry with an entry 2 at a little bit high in one of those 50 minutes candle that we just looked at. You can even look at this 4-hour candle up here, which is tiny little thing here. You can see short attempt at going long, short, but it did get traded into, so not hugely fond of this specific candle. One thing I do flag with harmonics, and if you follow me, you know that YouTube and the manuals usually tell you, oh yeah, we're gonna retrace back a 76 of this when it comes to bat and garlic. I've seen personally back testing that a lot of times we actually trade past the previous starting point. So this 4-hour right here, and sometimes we trade into the 1.1. So you can see the little number here going 1.0 something. So if you do take this and for whatever reason you get stopped out, I'm still going to try again, and I'm going to be trying from a higher level with a shorter stop loss, and I'll be doing this literally the same, and the take profit will be the same. So same take profit, basically split entry, better risk to reward. This will give us a nicer, come on, paste there, this will give us a much nicer 7.25 R versus a 3 point. So you can put it on your radar. You can look, you can set alerts. This is my UCAD. I saw one of our callers. Who was it? Was it Nick again? Maybe. Called a long on silver. Yes, I can see that. You just have to be a little bit careful with silver at the moment, because if you look at where we are, right? So this is on a weekly. Let's just get rid of this big DCA box down here. I can do it again. We'll do the analysis again together. So you obviously have high lows, but really this is a structural low, the last impulse. So market slow down here before obviously moving higher on a weekly. So if we just simply do what we usually do, which is take a fib, low to high, you can see that we're sitting with obviously trading back into almost the 76, but didn't quite get there. And now we're kind of sitting between the 50 and 618. So I do want to wait until this level personally, the $61.82 for silver, before calling a nice big long swing. And on a daily as well, you can see that the structural, I'll show you what I mean by, actually this is a good exercise because we're going to do a fib layering. So let's anchor it there. This is the long-term fib. So this is on the weekly of the whole move. And now we can take another fib of our daily structure, or even better, of our intraday structure. So basically from the last low to the recent high, you can see here, we got low to high. I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can differentiate the two fibs. And you can see that we only traded into the 618. If you know me, you know the 618 and 50%, they're not really the best places to trade because they just point to balances. The 50% is literally called the point of balance in the market, meaning that we could go up, we can go down. So it's not the most probable trade. I like to see a deeper retracement personally. So if you're going to attempt a long here on silver or on metals in general, I'll say just be wary that there is potentially more downside, and you can see why we're on a 4-hour right here. Look at this wick. Can you see it? This is a nice big wick that likely will get mitigated. So I love to see something like this happen before I call a long. I'm not saying that there's no room for a long. I think there is, but just a little bit lower personally. Just a little shout out there. I do trade metals a fair bit. And yeah, I'm not saying that I'm the metal whiz or anything like that, but just something to be a little bit wary there. Okay, so 30 minutes, we can see what's happening. We can drill it down. And you can see that 786 level on, see this is with a 4-pixel width, also coincides with what we call a Fibonacci cluster. So this right here, it's basically a Fibonacci layering of 2 different fibs. So this $68, it's a much nicer level in my opinion to look for potential longs. And this 15 minutes candle just confirms it for me right here. This last push. Can you see it, chat? Do you understand what I'm doing? Or am I just doing like this blindly? Is it clear enough what I've done? I started off from a weekly, right? We started off with a weekly. We marked up the weekly, we've marked up fib level, and then we've gone into daily, and now we've gone into 4-hour. And from the 4-hour, we're now looking for entries from the latest structure, and we've identified a 15 minutes candle, which was this last big push down right here. Last big push down before the displacement up that obviously left imbalances behind. So this is going to be my long area for silver. Oops. Right there. And right there. And obviously somewhere on this equal highs. This equal highs offer a very nice take profit right here. Oops. Yes, right there. 2.5 if we go lower. If we go higher, obviously, this is another point of liquidity up here. And a nice 3.1, 3.2. Cool. That is it. Jam-packed. We've gone through so much today between stocks and crypto and everything, but we've got a couple of live trades on stocks. Wait for a retracement, obviously, on it on BTC. If you decide to take this, it's already retracing now. You can wait for the 1 hour candle, which we just identified down there. You can even be a little bit more generous and wait and measure from the wick as opposed to the body, so the 67,337 if you want. And then yeah, we've got a silver confluence there with Enigma just going a little bit lower personally. I like this setup a little bit better. And that is it. Any questions, team? Gonna have to make myself a chamomile with honey after this. A lot of talking. While I grab a big gulp of water. Anyone, any question for future? Unmute yourself or just type it in. No, we all good. Must have done a good job. Happy days. Thanks, man. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for showing up every week. I definitely see you guys. I see the name, so I appreciate you. Thank you, team. And have a great rest of your day if you're on a place in the world where it's morning, or have a great evening if you are here in Australia with me, or New Zealand, or this side of the world. Much love, and see you guys next week.